Today, we're going to be talking about the Jennings Davis 8. So, yeah, let's go there. Yeah, there's a couple dogs here. You see one on the couch there. But yeah, if you've been here before, welcome back. If not, first time, subscribe. All right, get down there. I would love it if you guys subscribed. Get this channel going, get it up there over 1,000. That's the only thing that's holding me back from hitting the road. I want to see haunted places. I want to take you guys with me. Right, so let's go. Let's get into it. On first glance, Jennings, Louisiana, appears to be just another sleepy village in Cajun County. Flat farmlands, dirt roads, rice fields, and crawfish ponds. Although officially a city, there are fewer than 10,000 residents, many of whom pursue decidedly rural hobbies in surrounding swamps. But those swamps hold secrets. And in 2005, residents started stumbling upon them. First was discovered of the 28-year-old Loretta Jason Lewis, whose corpse was found by a fisherman in May 2005. Then, almost a month later, a group of friends hunting for bullfrogs came across a body of Ernestine Patterson, a 30-year-old. Over the next 4 years, the victim list grew. A new body showing up every few months. Christian Gary Lopez, Whitney Dupas, Lacona Muggy Brown, Crystal Zeno, Brittany Gary, and Nicole Gilroy. The sheriff's office in Jefferson Davis Parish announced that they believe the murderers to be the work of a serial killer, but others are less certain. Ethan Brown, a reporter who spent years investigating the Jeff Davis 8 murders, first for a magazine-length story, and then after for a book, Murder on the Bayou, says there's credible evidence to suggest that several offenders have blood on their hands and that Jefferson Davis Parish's own law enforcement may be implicated in the crimes. The Jeff Davis 8, or Jennings 8, had a lot in common. All of them were sex workers who abused drugs, notably crack cocaine. And many of them knew each other. Gary Lopez and Gary, for example, were cousins. Several of the victims turned tricks at the same cheap motel, the Brodeur Inn, where police regularly made arrests. Brown admits, when discussing some of the connections between the town's murder victims, that some of them might be a coincidence. It could be that it's a small town, but the 8 victims emerging in such a condensed time. He strains to imagine the death as an independent event. One of the strongest connections, Brown says, he discovered in his investigation was that all the victims had worked as police informants. There's a really dangerous interplay with the victims as informants for cops, he says. According to him, one of the victims, Muggy Brown, told family members shortly before her death that she was working as an informant on murder cases. The officer, she said, she was working for Michael Jennings, ended up being the one who found her body. Well, there's a coincidence, guys. The victims also seemed to know they were in danger. The last victim, Nicole Gilroy, died less than 2 weeks before her 27th birthday. She told her mother not to bother about a birthday cake, saying she wouldn't be alive for it. According to Brown, she added that the police were responsible for the other women's deaths. The fact that the Jeff Davis 8 were all sex workers turned police informants doesn't mean that all suspects hail from law enforcement. The more obvious place to look might be the men that rub shoulders with the women in the small town's criminal underworld. Chief among them, Frankie Richard, a pimp and drug dealer who worked with several of the women. Richard claims he mourned the deaths. We shared something, Richard told Brown, for his book. When we were at our lowest point of our life and no one wanted to have anything to do with us, we had something to do with each other. And that means something to me. Brown says there are several reasons to suspect Richard's direct involvement, particularly in the deaths of Whitney Dupas and Christian Gary Lopez. He was one of the last people seen with Whitney, and Frankie has attempted to give alibis for his time that do not check out, Brown says. On Christian, very similarly, he's right there in Christian's last days. Then there's a matter of a confession Richard allegedly made to another addict while in a drug rehabilitation program, which Brown says was credible enough on its face to make the local law enforcement track down the man for further questioning. Richard was later arrested for Lopez's murder, but was eventually let go due to lack of evidence. Still, other killings point to the Johns who hired the women. On the night of Ernestine Patterson's murder, she had sex with Byron Chad Jones, who has a lengthy, violent rap sheet, while Nixon waited outside. Nixon's wife, Senda, would later tell investigators that the two men came home that night with an enormous bloody garbage bag, and that her husband confessed the two men were responsible for Patterson's slaying. Her body, like the others, was found in a swamp. Nixon and Jones were initially charged in the district attorney's eventually dropped the case. The reason for the dismissal of the case by the DA, isn't at all clear, says Brown. They have very strong witnesses, he says, adding that none had recanted or provided inconsistent statements. Although, like the rest of Jennings 8, Patterson's case remains unprosecuted. It's an endemic problem that extends beyond the 8 women, revealing a parish with a significantly subpar record in solving murder. Jefferson Davis Parish has a homicide clearance rate of just under 7%. By comparison, the national homicide clearance rate is close to 62%. Anybody thinking what I'm thinking? They better get the federal people in there and get these cops checked out. While ineffective police work isn't proof of corruption, the relationship between Jennings' law enforcement and the murdered women raises eyebrows. Several of the women had clients in law enforcement. Loretta Jason Lewis's cellmate told Brown that Jason Lewis had a sexual relationship with jail warden Terry Gilroy, and that the pair had sex in the cell. According to Brown, a Jefferson Davis Parish task force assigned to the case was informed by several witnesses that one of the parish's deputies, Danny Barry, regularly solicited prostitutes from his police car, including several of the victims. And then there's the theory that the case ties to Leonard Crochet, a drug dealer who was unarmed when he was shot and killed by an officer during a raid. Check this out. Brown goes on to say, the first couple of years, at least when I was working on this, I was constantly told that all the women, or most of the women, were at Leonard Crochet's shooting. They witnessed it. That's why they were killed. Now he's not as sure. Jason Lewis had been around the area, he says, but there's scant evidence that the others were there. For now, what the women did or did not know and who took their lives remains shrouded in mystery. There you go, guys. You're Jennings 8. I don't care who you are or who in the hell you think you are. Commit a crime, at least be man enough. Have the balls to stand up to it. They need the feds in there to investigate the cops and everybody else there. Guaranteed they're going to find some guilty people. They need to straighten that place up. 7%. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no, they need feds in there as far as I'm concerned. That Jennings Parish 8 or Jennings Parish, whatever, that's not a safe place to live.
That's got to be in the basement of all the places to live in the USA. Anyways, guys, like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell. You're going to get more. All right? I'm out of here.